Hi, I'm Ann, Anna's mom. We wanted to let you know that we've started our own YouTube channel. So all of our video blogs from the first one moving forward will from now on be posted at Anna and Ann Unify Project. We'll see you there.
Hey guys, I'm Anna and welcome back to our videos. We're so excited that you guys are watching and we're really excited about sharing our story. Today is Monday, so we're doing part 2 of our story. So last week I basically started where my using history began and went all the way through until I was 19 and found out that I was pregnant and left off there. So I'm gonna start from that point now and give you guys more of the story. So basically, like I'd said before in the last video, my boyfriend and I had gotten into pills pretty badly, Oxycontins to be specific, and it took us downhill really quickly. I became addicted really fast and was really unaware in the beginning as to where that was going to lead me, what it was going to do to my life and my self-esteem, my image, my self-image, everything. I had no idea that that's the road that I was headed on when I started doing these things. So when we found out that we were pregnant, both of us were addicted by this point, and we were, both super thrilled. I had given up a baby for adoption when I was 16, and so there was that part of me that was really super excited about this time because I thought that I was going to be able to have a family, and I thought it was finally my turn, and we were both really excited. But as much as we were excited, we were also really scared because the position that we were in was not a good one, as you can tell. We had both vowed to get off of the pills. We knew that that was something that we had to do because, for the safety of our child, and we really did want to be good parents. We wanted to have a family. So we both had made several attempts on our own to try to quit, but with the opiate situation, it's not as easy as just stopping and quitting just like that. Your body will go through some serious withdrawal symptoms, and they can be very painful. And it got to the point where I started being concerned about the safety of our baby. I didn't know if these withdrawals were going to hurt her at all. My assumption was that they were. So we hadn't come up with any kind of plan, and we were really, really scared to ask for help because we figured that if we did, we could get our baby taken away. And that was the last thing that either one of us wanted. We were both really fearful, and we weren't really looking at the situation logically at this point, but in our heads we couldn't tell anybody. We had to figure this out ourselves and keep it a secret. So that's what we did. At the point that we found out that we were pregnant, we were living in a town called Fall City, and we were both working for a pizza place, and my boyfriend was the manager, and then I worked there. So we managed to scrape up enough money to move ourselves into Renton and get our own apartment with just the two of us, because prior to this we had been living with roommates in a little house. So we managed somehow to scrape up enough money, put down a deposit. I believe my boyfriend's mom co-signed on our apartment, and we were so excited. I was so ready to decorate the baby's room. We found out we were having a little girl. We were just like super thrilled, but like super, super nervous and scared, and weren't really sure what the outcome was going to be once we had her with our whole opiate problem. And the whole time I was just like going crazy in my head, wondering if what I was doing was hurting the baby. So it was an extremely stressful time for both of us, and we felt really, at least I speak for myself, I felt really lost. Basically, we were paying, the cost of these pills was just, it was absolutely insane. We were paying $60 per pill, supporting 2 habits on multiple pills a day. So we very quickly became extremely broke, where we were both working but trying to scrounge up money in whatever way that we could too. And all of it was going to pills. So within, I think, 3 months, we lost our apartment. We got an eviction notice. We were asked to leave. And at this point, I was like weeks to my due date. So we were in a really, really rough spot. We were scared. We were, our families they were trying to figure out why we were getting evicted, because we were both working. There was no reason for that to be happening in their minds. And at this point, they were still not aware that we were using. So they were concerned, to say the least, and concerned about what we were going to do when the baby came. And at this point, we had no idea. We knew that when she came, we were going to have maybe a week left in our place before we had to move out, and we didn't know where we were going to go from there. So things got really stressful. And finally, she was born. I had managed to wean myself off of the pills a couple of weeks before she was born. So by the grace of God, my daughter was not born withdrawing from opiate medication. She is perfect and beautiful and bright right now, which is also the biggest blessing. We're really lucky in that sense, because things could have been a lot worse. But I had her, and right before she was born, actually, my mom had thrown a huge baby shower for me. Huge. She had my friends and her friends from the town that we lived in. I mean, like 50, 60 people showed up with beautiful gifts and showing lots of support. And I mean, I was hardly present for the baby shower. This was during the time that I was trying to get off of the pills, and I was sick and just sunken in looking. I didn't look healthy, and I was stressed out, and it was not a good time. And my mom at that point knew that something was going on. I don't think she really quite knew what it was yet, but she knew that something was wrong. So I had the baby. We spent our last week in our apartment before we had to move out, and then we went to go stay with my boyfriend's mom. And at this point is when my family had figured out that we were using drugs. They were tipped off by our pill dealer's boyfriend, believe it or not, and they found out, and they set up an intervention for me. So that is where I'm gonna leave off today, and I hope you guys stay tuned, because my mom's going to be telling her side of the story right after this. So next Monday I'll get into what my first day in 30-day inpatient treatment was like, and I'll explain that whole process. And then shortly after that is when I began doing heroin. So we'll get into that too next week. Don't forget that this Thursday is going to be our next how-to video, so we're really thrilled about that, and we hope you guys tune in for that too. Thanks so much. Bye.
Hi again. So, Anna is pregnant. Well, I was really happy about being a grandmother. I wasn't quite prepared for it. Certainly wasn't old enough for it. I was really terrified about what was going on with my daughter and worried about her, and now bringing another life into this situation. Yeah, I was terrified about what could go on. But we tried to be supportive. I tried really hard to be supportive. I think I was. I didn't see a lot of Anna during her pregnancy. I wanted to see more of her. She did ask me to come to her OBGYN appointments with her, and I happily did. That was wonderful. But Anna just seemed different. She was withdrawn. She was quiet. She was almost reserved, and that was not her personality. She almost seemed depressed, and I was really, really worried about what was going on with her. At one point, I called her doctor and talked with her about it and said, I really believe my daughter is using drugs, or she's severely depressed and maybe dealing with even a mental illness. I didn't know what was going on with her, but I was really worried. And I asked the doctor to test her. In the state of Washington, if a physician has a reasonable reason to believe that a patient is using drugs while they're pregnant, then they can test them. And I asked her to do that. She told me to mind my own business and go fly a kite, basically. So that didn't happen. But I was really, really worried. But again, we were receiving this new little life into our family, and everybody was excited about that. So I really wanted to make this as positive of an experience as possible for everyone, and wanted to do a good job welcoming our new grandchild in spite of not knowing the circumstances or what was going to happen down the road. So I threw a baby shower for Anna. That was really neat. Only a couple of her friends came, and that was really another red flag to me. Anna had always had so many friends and so many people around her and who wanted to be around her, and she was very popular, and she'd always rooted for the underdog and stood up to bullies, and she was just one of those kids that everybody liked and felt great around. And when we could only scrape a couple of gals who were her peers at that point to come, I was concerned. About 50 or 60 of my lady friends did come, though, and they were amazing. We had a beautiful day and a beautiful shower, and literally they came bearing gorgeous top-of-the-line gifts. So Anna and her boyfriend were set up with this beautiful layout and all the supplies you could possibly want to, start with your new baby. And that was really lovely. One of my dear friends, Nancy, hosted this beautiful party at her place on a beautiful spring day on the river, and it was really neat. There was a lot of reason to be joyful and celebrating, and Anna was there physically, but that was about it. She seemed high or stoned or something. She wasn't herself, and she wasn't present, and I was worried about that. And I was also a bit embarrassed about that. Here I'd gotten all these lady friends of mine who didn't really know Anna to come out and support her, and it was clear something was very wrong with her. So, but then Arabella was born, and I have to say, I was there and in the room along with Anna's sisters and her boyfriend, of course, Daddy, and Anna's grandma and sister, my sister, Anna's aunt. And I have to say, it was really, really clear through that birth and through the experience and being in the room that Anna and her boyfriend were both very, very excited to have this baby. And they really, really loved her very much. And that was clear from the first moment. And that was neat. And they came back to our house to stay because they'd been evicted from their apartment. And that was another red flag. So they were there for less than a week after coming home from the hospital. And that week didn't go that well. I was really worried. They barely came out of that room. And it just, something was really off. And when they told me that they wanted to go back to their apartment for the last couple of weeks, that they were going to legally be able to get in there to have some family time, I was more than concerned. I was again terrified because it just didn't seem to be going that well. So they left, and I did not see that baby again for nearly a month. I didn't really hear from them. And that was also a big, huge worry, a big, huge concern. But there was nothing I could do about it. So just went on with life. And one day when the baby was about 4 weeks old, I got a Facebook message from a man I did not know. He messaged me with a strange message and said something to the effect of, if you want to know where your daughter was when she drove the getaway car with your grandchild riding shotgun in it after a robbery, give me a call. So I wanted to know, so I called him. I wasn't sure I was going to believe anything he said, but I knew something was desperately wrong with Anna. I knew eventually we'd figure something out. And anyway, I called him, and he told me what he was about. He said that he was an active drug addict, and that he'd just gotten out of jail, And that while he was in jail, Anna and her boyfriend and another person had driven over to his house where his girlfriend and children lived. His girlfriend had been the supplier of the pills they had been buying. And anyway, that the boyfriend and this other gentleman somehow got into the house and robbed this woman of her drugs. And that Anna and the baby were in the car, and Anna drove the getaway car. And he let me know that he was reaching out to me about this because he felt that Anna had come from a good family and would get some support and didn't belong in the drug world. As if anybody does. But I will forever be grateful for that call. So now we knew what was going on, or at least I thought I did. I confirmed this with one of Anna's friends that I could get a hold of and said, you know, is Anna using drugs? And she said, yeah, we all are. It's OxyContin. We're smoking it. It's really bad. So, okay. So, called Anna's dad and my husband and the family together, and we hired an interventionist because we didn't know what the heck to do about this. And this gal was very professional and seemed to really know what she was talking about. And she helped us orchestrate an intervention. And she schooled us on tough love. And so we lured Anna over to her dad's house with the promise of some money. And then we were all there waiting for her and proceeded with the intervention and told her that she either handed that baby over and went to rehab, or we were going to take that baby away from her permanently, and that she would be out of the family, that we wouldn't be around her when she used. So that's what happened. And it was really hard, and that was really painful, and I did not like the way any of that felt, but we really were in it to win it with the tough love, and I certainly didn't want to be an enabler. So that's what we did, and Anna went off to rehab, and the story will continue next week. Thank you so very much for joining us on this journey.